contacts me, and he's going to pull 8 and 9 just to make it cleaner. So
Okay.
All right, good evening, everybody. The time is now 6 o'clock, and I would like to welcome everybody to the Galt City Council meeting for Tuesday, June the 1st. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic emergency, we have to continue to handle our city council meetings much differently than we usually do for the protection of the public and our city staff. I'm going to ask our city manager, Mr. Hines, to give a brief explanation to the public. Sir?
Good evening, City Manager Lorenzo Hines. This meeting of the Galt City Council is being conducted by teleconference/video conference in compliance with the state and county stay-at-home orders and as allowed by the governor's executive order N-29-20, which allows for deviation of teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. Members of the public will see the council members and city staff who are appearing via remote video/telephone connections. City council meetings will be held virtually by teleconference or video conference only until further notice. Today's agenda states that rather than attending in person, residents may submit written public comments via email to pubcom@cityofgalt.org prior to the city council meeting. Any written comments that were received will be read out loud during the city council meeting by the city clerk on the appropriate agenda item, subject to the customary 5-minute time limit, unless the same individual also appears and requests to speak live during the meeting. We will take live comments first, and then the written comments will be read out loud. We're also using the Zoom webinar format, which allows the public to provide live public comment. Members of the public may use the link to enter the webinar as attendees. They should also be able to use the raise their hand option in the Zoom webinar to let us know if they would like to speak, and should do so when the mayor announces the time for general public comment or when a specific agenda item is called, if your comment concerns an item on the agenda. We request, as we typically do in in-person council meetings, that speakers provide their name and address when they are called on to speak, and their line is unmuted, but doing so is not required. Attendees should also see the lower hand feature if they change their minds and do not want to speak. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. All right, we'll now call the meeting to order. Ms. Hubert, if you can give me a roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Sandu.
Here.
Councilmember Papineau.
Here.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Here.
Councilmember Lozano.
Here.
Mayor Farmer.
Here. All right, thank you. If everyone would like to please join me in a silent prayer followed by our flag salute. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, Ms. Hubert, if you would please read our replay statement.
This meeting of the Galt City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at www.zacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will air Friday, June 4th at 9 a.m. and Saturday, June 5th at 9 a.m. This meeting can also be viewed on Metro Cable 14's YouTube channel.
All right, thank you. We'll now move on to item B, agenda approval, additions and or deletions. Do we have anything from council first? Okay, I'm going to be pulling item F8 and F9. All right. Before we proceed on to our presentations, we are going to have a statement from our city attorney, Ms. Kimberly Hood.
Thank you, Mayor Farmer. Yes, so I just briefly wanted to announce that I have a new job opportunity that I've decided to go ahead with. And so I'll be leaving the city and the firm at the end of June, and there'll be more to come on that. But I did just want to go ahead and put that out there. I want to thank the city, and I hopefully we'll have the chance again. But if it's been a great opportunity, it's been a pleasure, it's been an honor. It's an amazing community with a lot going on and a lot of involved citizens, and it's just been a wonderful opportunity. I want to thank you, and obviously more to come on the transition. That we're working on a very simply smooth transition, so more to come again on that. But thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hood. And thank you for your service to Galt. I'm sure you're not leaving yet, but
No.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to item C, presentations. Do we have any presentations this evening?
Not this evening.
Okay. We'll move on to item D, our public comment.
Under Government Code Section 54954.3, members of the public may address the City Council on non-agenda items. The public comment section is for City Council to receive comments, except for brief responses to questions. No discussion or action may be taken on any item that is not listed on the agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. Due to the statewide emergency and social distancing guidelines, public comments may be submitted via email to pubcom@cityofgalt.org and will be read out loud subject to the customary 5-minute time limitation. Also, members of the public may participate electronically via https://web.zoom.us/j/844-979-80351, webinar ID 844-979-80351.
All right, thank you. Do we have any written public comment tonight?
I have received one public comment. This is from Vanessa Leal regarding crossing 2nd and C Street. Good morning. I work for the school district at Valley Oaks. Right now I cross 3 times a day at 2nd and C Street crosswalks. Drivers there do not pay attention to me or the kids crossing. It's only me there, and I have to cross 2 ways. Kids will cross over the park. When I do, the drivers will try to drive through while me or kids are still in crosswalk. Some drivers don't even stop at the stop sign and just roll through. It would help if we had a signal or a crossing light for them to see that they need to stop in all directions. There have been quite a few times that either me or the kids have almost gotten hit. Please do something about this before something bad happens, especially when school goes back in full time. Thank you. That is all the written public comments.
Who was that from, Tina? Mrs. who?
Vanessa Leal, L-E-A-L.
Okay. Well, Mrs. Leal, if you're listening, we'll bring this to attention of our city manager and see if we can see what we can do regarding that area. We'll look into it. Thank you for your comment. Do we have any hands raised online, Rose?
We do not have any hands raised online.
Mr. Lozano, you had a comment?
Yeah, just in relation to the last public comment, I just wanted to ask the city manager if the school district has reached out to us at all on this.
Mr. Hines?
Not to my knowledge, but we will take Mrs. Leal's comments. I'm actually forwarding those to our Public Works and Community Development Department as we speak here. And we'll reach out to the school districts and see if they have any thoughts on this particular matter.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Thanks. So Rose, you said we have no hands raised online, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, then we'll move on to item E, reports by city council members on regional boards, commissions, and committees. We'll start with our Vice Mayor, Mr. Sandhu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I attended a South Sacramento Conservation Agency meeting on May 24. There was a couple projects we approved, but it belonged to Rancho Cordova. But I certainly like to explain, because there was another item is adopt the South Sacramento Conservation agency fiscal year 2021 and 2022 budget. This agency have around 10 million budget. There all the expenditure plan was 10,406,000, and also their revenue is getting very much the balance the budget 10,406,000. It's the revenue we can getting from the developer fees. There are a number of projects they are anticipated to pay mitigation fees to balance the 2021-2022 budget. And that's about that.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Papanow.
Yeah, last Thursday, we had the Metro Air Quality District Board meeting. The major topic was the budget, which we did approve for the next year. We continue in deficit spending, primarily due to the unfunded state and CARB mandates based on the air districts. The district will be looking, unfortunately, to increase fees on permits and so forth to try and close that gap. As a projected budget stands now, we would exhaust all reserves in 2 years and be completely upside down. So that was the major item. Another thing that's going on, which given the current weather, doesn't seem like it's going to affect us, but now through June 11th, there's going to be approximately 3,200 acres of prescribed burns at Beale Air Force Base. So they'll be watching that to see, hopefully no effect on our district. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilmember Vandenberg.
Thank you, Mayor. I did join the Commission on Aging. There was a mention of several people not getting the second shot or for the COVID vaccination. And was also relayed to them that they could go to either Kaiser and or CVS Pharmacy to get that, not necessarily have to wait for the city of Galt. That, and they're looking to become a charity. And that's all I have.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilmember Lozano.
Yeah, I just have to report on 2 items. One, the SACOG board meeting, I was able to get through closed session and then had some technical difficulties with my Wi-Fi and was in and out. And so not a lot to report on that. But I did attend with Vice Mayor Sandu the Kasumna CSD 2x2 meeting on the 20th, and that was very good. The CSD talked about the fire department, and they're working on their strategic plan for the department now. They're looking for as much community input as they can get. And I know they have a survey, and I know it was posted on our website as well as the CSD website. So if you haven't already done so, please take that survey. And it takes about 10 minutes. It's really a really good survey in that what I liked about it was that it gives you a couple of items in which you can choose 1 through 10 in order of priority, which really I think gets you good information on the the back end. And so takes about, like I said, 10 minutes or so to complete. So if you can, I would encourage the public and all of us actually on the call here to do that. They're looking at some revenue enhancement opportunities for the fire department. They're looking to reach out to the development communities and different constituencies throughout the district to see what that might look like in the future. And then lastly, City Manager Lorenzo Hines gave a brief presentation of the market master plan to them. And I thought it was interesting. One of the folks on the call said, now, and I'm going to almost quote this, but it's something to the effect of, now that would make me go to Galt, talking about the master plan. So it was pretty interesting to hear that. They're pretty jazzed about at least the visionary document and what that could bring. So that is all that we really talked about. Vice Mayor Sandu, was there anything that I missed?
Oh, I believe you already explained everything. That's why I leave for you to.
Yeah, it was really good, and so we also talked to them about services that they could help us with on our end, to look at, maybe asking them for some help so that we're not necessarily just going out to consultants all the time on things that they could help us with. So they were very open to that, both in the in many arenas. So I think that's it, and that's all I have to report.
All right, thank you, sir. For myself, I last Thursday I had a Sac County Library Authority meeting. It's a very good meeting. We discussed, still discussing the transitions back to normalcy for the branches. We did have a closed session meeting regarding employee bargaining, and overall it was very good. And then yesterday, I actually attended the Memorial Day ceremony at the Galt Cemetery. It's a very nice ceremony. Want to commend Belinda and all the Board of Trustees with the cemetery for their fine work every year. I know last year that the event was postponed or canceled, but decorations were great. The whole ceremony was very well put together. Supervisor Natoli was there and spoke. I was honored to speak as well. We had a representative from Congressman Bear's office and some very good vocal performances by some local singers, and a very stirring speech by a local fireman for CSD, Mr. Gary Volkman. So I was glad I could attend. It was very warm, even though it was 10 in the morning. So, but I'm glad I was able to go. So, and that's all I have. So without further ado, we will move on to our consent calendar. So it is recommended that items 1 through 9 be acted simultaneously unless a separate discussion and or action is requested by a council member. We do have 2 items pulled. I will read the other remaining. Item 1 is get the minutes of the regular meeting for May 18th, 2021. Item 2 is receive and file warrants for the period ending May 18th, 2021. Item 3 is the city council meetings of July 6th, 2021 and August 3rd, 2021. Actually, I'm not sure, is that to cancel? It doesn't say cancel, but that's to cancel the meetings, right, Tina?
Cancel the July 6th and start time of 3 o'clock on August 3rd due to National Night Out.
Okay, it isn't in the title, just in the lower part. Okay, to cancel the 2 meetings because of National Night Out and close proximity to the 4th of July. Item 4 is the award of contract for consultant services to perform project management for the Walnut Avenue Highway 99 interchange project. And item 5 is the Galt Landscape and Lighting District Engineers Report, intention to levy and collect assessments for fiscal year 21 and 22, and to set public hearings. Item 6 is to approve the final map subdivision improvement agreement and adoption of the resolution of intention to annex into Community Facilities District number 2020-1 for Cadosa 2. And item 7, approval for the final map subdivision improvement agreement and adoption of resolution of intention to annex into Community Facilities District 2021-1 for Parlin Oaks. Do I have a motion to approve those 7 items?
I will move.
Moved by Vice Mayor Sandu. I will second that. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau,
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Approved 5-0. We'll now move on to our first item that's pulled, F8, which is the Summerfield at Twin Cities Road property tax exchange agreement with Sacramento County. Councilor Papineau, you have a statement.
Yes, I do. So as to items 8 and 9 on the consent agenda, I need to disclose that I am employed by Sacramento County, which is a party to the proposed tax exchange agreements. I work at the district attorney's office, which is not directly involved in these agreements. And so my employment with the county is non-interest under government code section 1091.5, sub A, sub 9. And I may participate in this item so long as I disclose my interest at the time the contracts are considered, as I am doing now. Thank you.
All right, thank you for making us aware of that, Councilmember. I myself wanted this item pulled. As those that may be aware, I early in the year or last year, actually not last year, in 19, I was opposed to this particular project and I wanted it pulled so that I could have it vote separately upon. So do I have a motion to approve item 8, Summerfield at Twin Cities Road, the property tax exchange agreement with Sacramento County? Looking for a motion to approve that item.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano,
Second.
seconded by Vice Mayor Sandu. We have a roll call vote, please, Ms. Hubert.
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau,
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
No. Item passes 4-1. Moving on to F9. Subject is the East Infill Annexation Summerhorn Ranch Project property tax exchange agreement with Sacramento County. Yes, Mr. Sandu, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I need to recuse myself from participating this item number 9, as I own real property next to that project. The address is 100684 Summerhorn. And due to that, based on this, I have a potential conflict of interest and will recuse myself from this item. I will now leave the room by logging off the meeting. I believe Mr. Hines, can you call me on my cell phone number when this item done? So
Yes,
I will rejoin the meeting. So give me maybe 1 minute.
Mr. Hines, if there's no discussion on the item, does he need to log off? We're only going to vote.
that's more of a question for the city attorney.
Yeah, so he wouldn't have had to if it just stayed on the straight consent agenda, but since it's pulled for discussion, then he should go ahead and log off pursuant to the FPPC regulations.
Okay. All right, we'll give Vice Mayor a moment to get off the meeting. All right, looks like he is out. So I was looking for a motion to approve the East Galt Infill Annexation Summerhorn Ranch Project property tax exchange agreement with Sacramento County. Do I have a motion to approve that item?
So move.
Moved by Councilmember Vandenberg. And I will second that item.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councilmember Papineau. Have a roll call, please, Tina.
Mayor, we have a hands raised. I'm not sure if we need a public comment on this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for bringing that up. Go ahead with the public comment.
I have Phyllis Johnson.
Go ahead, Ms. Johnson.
1 moment while I allow her to speak. Mrs. Johnson, go ahead. You'll need to unmute your mic. Miss Phyllis Johnson, if you want to unmute your mic, you have your hands raised.
I'm at 115 2nd Street. I am a tax-paying property owner, and therefore I am questioning the additional taxes that you're speaking of. Could you please give me a better description? Thank you.
Mr. Hines? Would you like to respond to her comment?
I'm going to let Community Development Director Hoffman address this one, but this is merely a tax sharing agreement between the city and the county. So if there is this particular item does not concern any increasing of taxes. This is just an agreement of the sharing of the revenues that are generated from taxes and other matters between the city and county. And I'll let Director Hoffman fill in details.
Sure. If I could add for Ms. Johnson, this will not raise your taxes. This is an agreement within a specified area. It's part of an annexation and it's required prior to the annexation process being completed, but it is in a specific area. That area is currently not within the city limits of Galt. And this agreement does not affect you if you aren't within that area. It's more of a property tax sharing agreement. Does that help?
Most definitely. Thank you both
Okay.
very much for the clarification. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson.
Glad we could help.
Do we have any additional hands raised, Rose?
Thank you. No, that was the only one.
Okay. All right, then I will, we don't have any written comment on this item, do we?
No, we do not.
All right, looking for a motion to approve the East Galt infill annexation Simmerhorn Ranch project property tax exchange agreement with Sacramento County.
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Vandenberg and seconded by Councilor Papineau. I didn't hear you, but I saw your mouth moving. Seconded by Councilor Papineau. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu? Oh, sorry. Councilmember Papineau?
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg?
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano?
Aye.
Mayor Farmer?
Aye. Motion passes 4-0. All right, we will now move on to item G, which is the scheduled matters notice of public hearing. Do we have any this evening?
No, but can we wait a minute while we let
Oh, I'm
Vice
sorry.
Mayor
Yes.
Sandu in?
Vice Mayor Sandu is logging back in right now.
Okay. Welcome back, Vice Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay. Item G, scheduled matters, notice of public hearing. Do we have any this evening?
None this evening.
Thank you. We'll now move on to item H, our regular calendar. Start off with our city manager's office. Item 1 is going to be our coronavirus COVID-19 update by our city manager, Mr. Hines. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can everyone see the PowerPoint on the screen?
Yes, sir.
All righty, very good. So this is the COVID-19 update for June 1st, 2020. The good news is that the trend as far as COVID infections has flattened tremendously. Since our last meeting on May the 18th, Sac County has seen a 1% increase in cases. That's about 1,200. They've also seen a 1% increase in folks that have passed away as a result of the virus. So we are still losing folks as a result of the virus. So I want to make sure everyone still understands that. As far as the city of Galt is concerned, and I'm talking about the area code, I'm sorry, the zip code that the city of Galt has, and that includes the surrounding areas. We've had a 1% increase in cases since the last meeting. So there's 22 additional cases in the last 2 weeks. Fortunately, we haven't lost any Galt residents to this virus. So while the virus is still present, it is sort of waning as far as its impact on our population. So I have good news. Sacramento County moved to the orange tier effective today, 6/1. So Sacramento County Health Order has been updated with the following modifications: that restaurants now allowed up to 50% capacity indoors, gyms and fitness centers now allowed up to 25% capacity indoors, events, indoor and outdoor events with capacity limits are allowed. Bars where no meals are served can open outdoors. Many additional youth sports and adult recreation sports are now allowed, including basketball, football, soccer, water polo, gymnastics, dance, tennis, track, and field. We'll have an update from our Parks Director, Armando Solis, later in the meeting regarding parks activities, just to give you a preview of coming presentations. The county's June 1st health order is effective immediately until it expires at 12:01 on June 15th. It's at that time we expect that the state will open up completely. On June 15th, the state of California is slated to expire the color tiered structure for counties, and where there's no capacity limits, no social distancing requirements. So that's what we're expecting. California is also anticipated to update current face mask guidance to align with CDC guidance, which provides that fully vaccinated people can resume activities without wearing a mask or staying 6 feet apart, except where required by federal, state, local, tribal, or territorial laws, rules, and regulations, including local businesses and workplace guidance. All sectors listed in the blueprint activities and business tiers chart may return to their usual operations, with exception of indoor and outdoor mega events where vaccine verification and negative testing will apply. So there's still some work to do, but we're hoping by June 15th, we'll get more clarity. 64% of all eligible Californians have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine. Sacramento County has administered nearly 1.297 million doses of the vaccine, 707,000 partial vaccinations, and 590,000 full vaccinations. As of today, 37.11% of eligible residents in the 95632 zip code have been partially vaccinated, up from 34.77 at our prior meeting. A couple of things I wanted to update the public and the council on. At our last meeting, there was some discussion about the Independence Day celebration and the measures that our Parks and Recreation Department had gone through to put that event on. Parks had submitted the IDC celebration to the council, to the county to get their clearance. As we have to do with all of our events, we have to submit it to the county in order to get their buy off and sign off on those events. This also allows us to understand fully what the county's requirements are. With the IDC celebration, the caveat to it being approved by the county was that we had to ensure that we had resources in place to ensure that social distancing was required and various other measures were put in place to keep folks safe. And as a result of that, in order to offset some of those costs for those additional resources, Parks chose to levy a charge of $20 a car in order to offset the cost of those additional resources. Since that time, the county has relaxed the requirements for these types of events. And so now we find ourselves here on June 1st that those additional resources are no longer required by the county. And as a result, Parks will be providing information and getting information out that $20 per car charge will now not be necessary, and everything will function as close to it has been historically as possible. There's still some requirements that we have to adhere to. We may have to adhere to at that time, but we'll see what those requirements are. But as at this time, we know that those additional requirements necessary for safety and distancing are not required. And so therefore the $20 per car charge is not being levied. The other thing I wanted to let the council and the public know is that we're still keeping our fingers crossed for a live council meeting on June 15th. We are currently working with the county to make sure that we're understanding their requirements. Even though we've moved to the orange tier, there is still requirements for these types of meetings. And at this point, we at minimum know that masking will still be required, but that's today as of 6:34 p.m. These rules could be relaxed or changed by midnight tonight or sometime tomorrow, But that's where I am right now, and I will be providing additional information to the council and to the public regarding the June 15th meeting, but I and the rest of the staff are keeping our fingers crossed that we can do that one in person. And Mr. Mayor, that concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir. Do we have any comments from the council on this particular item? Nope. Okay. All right. Well, I'm hoping that we get good news, Mr. Hines, and hopefully you'll work hard to do the best you can to make sure we can get that council meeting on the 15th as planned. So we'll hope that that's a good outcome. Do we have any public comment? Yeah, Ms. Hood, go ahead.
Nope, I was just to remind, just in case we moved on, to remember to check for the public comment. That's all. You got it.
Do we have any written public comment, Tina?
No written comment.
Okay. Do we have any hands raised online, Ms. Rodeker?
We have no hands raised online.
Okay, thank you. All right, we will move on to item 2 of our regular calendar, which is from our Public Works Department. This is going to be the authorization to purchase thermoplastic equipment. Presentation by Mike Selling. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, good evening, Mayor and council members. Mike Selling, your Director of Public Works. So this item is to authorize the purchase of thermoplastic equipment. And what is that, you may ask? So basically, there are 2 types of products that we use in pavement striping and markings. Paint being one and thermoplastic is the other. So currently, the city only has the ability to apply paint. We only have that type of equipment. And over the years, there's been some environmental regulatory changes with regard to paint that have basically made it not as durable. And so consequently, it doesn't hold up as well, and we need to stripe more often. And then, paint can last typically from 1 to 2 years, and that depends on traffic volumes and the environment, i.e. is it rainy, snowy a lot? Is there sand and that kind of thing that can essentially, be abrasive and grind it away? So those kinds of things shorten that time frame. The other product, what we're talking about here tonight, is thermoplastic. And that's essentially what it sounds like. It's color-coded plastic, basically, that's heated up and then extruded onto the pavement for whatever shape and wording that we need. So given its nature, plastic definitely a lot more durable than paint. And so it typically lasts anywhere from 3 to 6 years, potentially longer, again, depending on traffic and weather conditions. And then, all of the markings here in Galt that you see that are thermoplastic, they've either, come by way of being put in by a developer through new development, or the city has contracted with a contractor to do that thermoplastic work on an as-needed basis. And then, so a few years ago, we started evaluating the costs of placing and maintaining pavement markings, and determined that due to the savings from the reduced frequency of refreshing or restriping, replacing these thermoplastic markings, it was more cost effective than painting. So the question then turned to, should we basically continue to contract out, or should we look to purchase our own equipment and do it ourselves? So the evaluation showed that despite the initial cost of purchasing the equipment, the in-house use, the costs of contracting the work were higher over time. Additionally, purchasing our own equipment will also give us the ability to be more responsive in a quicker manner when we need to be, and then also save the additional staff time that's associated with processing contracts and also doing the inspection of the work by a contractor. So staff basically put in the budget $125,000 for purchasing this equipment in the 2021 budget, and that was previously approved by council, obviously. And so we advertised for bids on this, and we received 3 bids, and the low bid came in at just over just under $98,000, sorry, which is well within the $125,000 budget amount. So we're therefore requesting the council's authorization to purchase this equipment, and that concludes my presentation. Mr. Clarkson and I are available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Selling. We'll go to the council. Anybody has any questions? Any questions from Mr. Lozano?
Yeah, Mr. Selling, just one quick question. I take it that all three of the bidders were qualified bidders.
Correct. We had no non-responsive bids.
Thank you.
Mr. Vandenberg, you have a comment? I see your microphone's off.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Selling, just for the clarification, the reason we changing from conventional marking to thermoplastic because one thing is a better quality, right?
Correct.
And then the second thing is kind of saving for when we have our own equipment we can use, right?
Correct.
Okay. The third, my just kind of confirmation, when we using that equipment, are we anticipating any employee increase in your department, or you can absorb whatever working on your department?
Could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch what you were asking there.
I'm asking when we getting the new equipment, right?
Uh-huh.
Use somebody in-house employee, right?
Yes, correct. Correct.
Are you anticipating any increase in employees, or you can absorb whatever you have?
No, we don't anticipate any increase. No.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Selling, sorry, did another council member have? No. Okay. Mr. Selling, so just to kind of piggyback onto the Vice Mayor's question, so there'll be a training involved with some staff?
Yes, that's correct. So the bid basically includes some training so our staff know how to use the equipment, correct?
Okay. And also, does the bid for the equipment, two questions regarding the equipment. Does the bid for the equipment, does that include any sort of maintenance agreement on the equipment, or is it just like once we buy it, we're kind of on our own?
I believe there's a warranty period, but I'm going to defer to Mr. Clarkson to see if he has any more information on that.
Yeah, this is Mark Clarkson, city engineer. It's only, they're all required to provide a warranty for 1 year on their equipment. That's standard for parts and replacement for the first year.
Okay. Do we have any idea, being that this will be, I'm assuming, the first time we've owned such equipment, do we know what the lifespan on such equipment is?
You know, I can speak from my experience at my prior agency. It lasts several years. In fact, I think it was over a decade that we had the equipment that we had at the time.
Okay. I'm assuming you guys factored that all in your cost of the frequency.
Yeah, you're correct, Mayor. It's a life cycle cost analysis. And, you know, obviously it depends on how well people take care of things, but, you know, with normal maintenance and care, it should last easily that long or longer. So.
Well, that's the only questions I had. Obviously, I'm always in favor of bringing something in-house if it makes sense financially. So thank you for your presentation, and thank you for the answer, Mr. Clarkson. Do you have any additional questions from the council before I go to public comment? No? Okay. Do we have any written comment on this item, Tina?
No written comment.
Do we have any hands raised online, Rose?
No, there is no hands raised online.
Okay. At this time, I will entertain a motion to, and I just flipped my page, so I have to go back. To adopt a resolution to authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Dispensing Technology Corporation in the amount of $97,832.33 for the purchase of thermoplastic dispensing equipment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lozano.
Seconded.
Seconded by Councilmember Papineau. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau,
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We'll now move on to item 3 on our regular calendar. The approval of Senate Bill 1 annual project list for fiscal year 2021-22. Mr. Selling?
Yeah, thank you again, Mayor. So basically, this item is something that we have to do annually, hence the title. But maybe a little bit of background first. The state legislature back in 2017 passed what we know as Senate Bill 1. And there were multiple programs under this bill that were transportation funding related. One of the key pieces in Senate Bill 1 was the Road Maintenance and Rehabilitation Account program, what we call RMRA. Sorry for all the acronyms, that's transportation world, basically. But so the RMRA was established to provide annual funding for the maintenance of roadways by cities and counties. And for this year, Galt is estimated to receive approximately $472,000. And then contingent on receiving the RMRA funds, however, each city and county must approve and submit a list of potential road maintenance projects to receive the funds for that given year. However, the list is non-binding in nature, meaning that the city is not obligated to do work on any of the roadways that are on the list and can use the funds on another road or roads if it so desires. And the intention here really is to just give maximum flexibility. I think the legislature, give them a little bit of credit in their wisdom, recognize that that things can change. Projects can get held up maybe by an environmental or right-of-way issue or something. And so they gave the cities and counties that flexibility to change projects if needed for the funding. So consequently, like most other agencies, Galt has submitted a list that has more projects on it than we have money coming to us for those projects. And so then I wanted to touch on how we identify the projects that you see on the list. We start with our pavement condition index, and what this is essentially a database. Every couple of 2-3 years, we go out and review all the segments in the city and rate them based on the cracking, the frequency of potholes, the oxidation of the pavement, the drainage. Several factors go into that, and it's essentially a 0 to 100 scale. 0 basically being dirt, and 100 being a brand new paved road. And then, so we come up with an overall condition index for the collective body of roads within the city, and that's right now it's about 75 or so, which is actually very good on the scale. I can tell you maybe for a quick reference, if you look, or if you drive, and probably most of you have, some of the county roads just outside the city limits here, a lot of them are in a lot rougher condition, I guess I'll say. I don't want to throw the county under the bus too much, but they got a lot of roads to maintain, and so I can understand coming from the county side. But their overall condition index is in the mid-50s, so it's a good 20 points less than ours. And so that gives you any kind of a sense of what that difference means. So anyway, there's other factors other than the condition index that we weigh into which roads we target for this funding. And those include, what kind of traffic loading is on it, which is not just the sheer volume of traffic, but it's also like how many trucks, buses, that kind of heavy loaded traffic. And then there's other things, if we've got other projects, whether it's a utility project or it's another, street or grant project, we're obviously trying to maximize the use of the dollars that we get and the different flavors. And so we'll try to work around those other types of projects. We obviously take input from our maintenance staff. They're out there and they see things and notice things. And so their input is definitely very valuable in determining which projects get put on the list. And then lastly, we try to look at some geographic equity too, that we're not just, doing all the roads in one area of town, so to speak. So, and then lastly, I want to note that in addition to this annual list, the program does require an annual report in the fall. And that report is where we say what we actually did with the money, what project or projects we actually spent the money on. So there is an accountability back to the state, regardless of whether we did something on the list or not, kind of thing. So with that, that kind of concludes my remarks. And again, Mr. Clarkson and I are available for any questions you may have.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the item? Mr. Vice Mayor, go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Selling, thank you for the report. This is a very clear report, but I just for a informational information. So we choose on this Exhibit A, 20 states we choose to do in the next year or 2 years, right? That's what the budget is.
Well, what I would say is the segments that are listed on there, Vice Mayor, are essentially, yeah, what we see as the priority projects. It'd be hard to say that they're all going to get done in the next couple of years. So,
Okay. The other thing, when we making these streets a decision, okay, this street a priority on the priority list. So when you as a departmental, I believe in a department or make a decision, so you might be have a 30 street, you want to look them up and then you down to 20 because you want to make sure we need to take care of the which street is really need to work, right?
correct.
Okay, okay. And the other thing is when any budget come in, then we have to pick up from this street, or we as a staff, you maybe if you look up some other street, maybe is not catch them up on this one, but their condition is very bad. You might be have the ability to look back on that street.
Yes, that's true. There could be another project, a development type project that may, we could maybe condition to make some repairs on a given street. And so then it, might come off the list kind of thing. Again, we're just trying to maximize, the money that we have or the opportunities that we have to kind of, use the money to maintain as much roadway as we can. So.
And the other thing, I did myself drove almost all the street and look them up, and as a staff, a very good decision. And there is one state, if you guys, I just like to recommend to the council or recommend myself, and there is street B Street from 4th Street to the Lincoln Way. If staff get a chance, I just like to, drive through that, and that street to me a little bit, I'm talking about is very much should be on that list. And this is kind of my, but I like to look staff, if you look them up and see if you guys can do something on that street. And it's very rough. I drove, a couple time on that street, and I also drove all the other street, which is already on the list.
Yes, I would definitely agree with you, Vice Mayor. From a pavement condition standpoint, it definitely would be on the list. The challenge with B Street is there's a couple of vacant properties that I know the city's been hopeful to get some development project in there and make the utility connections that are needed. Because the last thing we want to do is go pave a street and then some potential development project come in and they cut it open in order to put in a water and sewer line extension. So we're hopeful to maybe get some money to do those utility extensions, and then we would definitely want to pave it. So
okay, I just want to make sure you are aware of that condition.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, we actually, a few months ago, we did some pothole patching out there on B Street. So hopefully it wasn't as rough as it might have been prior, but I definitely hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. I understand there's a couple lots, there might be somebody come to. Thank you, Mike. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Mike, I just wanted to, I had two questions, but I just want to piggyback real quick on what the mayor said, or sorry, what the vice mayor said. I know you're aware of B Street, and I know that we were waiting on those, but I also don't want, I know that one of those lots is the person's kind of, there's been kind of a back and forth about them wanting this and that, and Craig knows, about that. I don't want to hold up, a street that's, that in my opinion, I'm not that familiar with the east side, but that being the newer part of town. But as far as the west side of town, I would clearly say that B Street's probably by far the worst street in town. I drive it quite frequently. It's really bad, and the pothole stuff you guys did was really helpful. But again, it's so bad, and I don't want some person that's just sitting on their hands on a lot, and dragging their feet on something, make us wait another 5 years before we do something. So I think maybe we need to turn up the pressure on these people or move on. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, if I could respond to that real quick, Mayor, I definitely hear you. And that's why I think, we obviously don't want B Street to get to the point of no return, so to speak, to where, now it's going to cost even more to repair it kind of thing. So that's why we're hopeful to get some money to make those utility extensions if needed ourselves, so that we can maintain B Street before it there's a curve anyway that's for pavement deterioration. And I mean, but just a quick visual is it basically, as the road starts out in good condition, and as time goes by and traffic and wear and tear, so to speak, it starts to curve, and then the curve gets steeper. And so you don't want it to get to that point where it's kind of so steep, that the cost wise goes up to where it becomes cost prohibitive kind of thing. So you don't want to get to that point, and that's what we're trying to avoid. So, but definitely hear you.
Thank you. Just last quick question. Just tell me, on such roads, like for example, like Cost, where we have two new subdivisions going in on each side of the road, north and south of that road. How does it work with the county? Well, I guess where those subdivisions are, that's all within the city limits. But I guess when you move down a little further down towards, say, First Street, half the road is actually the county's and half the city. I mean, how do you work with the county on identifying? Because Cost Road is not that great either. So what's being done right there in that area?
Yeah. So in Sacramento County, it's a little different than what I've been used to. Down in San Joaquin County, through the LAFCO process, when cities, annex, the condition was that they had to annex the whole roadway. Here in Sacramento County, it's a bit different, and basically they're only annexing half the roadway. So it does get to be a bit of a problem, because you can have, one side county, one side city. And so it's either going to take some coordination with the county to prioritize it, which is difficult given there are a number of roads, and they're going to say that it's primarily serving city traffic. So why would they spend county money for city benefit largely? Or we can do some kind of an agreement with them, maybe get some credit, if you will, if we did their half kind of thing. Galt doesn't have a lot of money to do that, so that's kind of a challenge too. It's a bit of a conundrum, and so it does get to be a challenge. But I think I have some good contacts at the county, and I've been hopeful to try to get some better coordination, because my understanding in the past, and Mr. Clarkson may want to jump in here, is the city has largely done its half of the roadway in these cases, and left the other half to the county. And it's just a bad perception for the public, because they drive a road and they don't know what city, what's county necessarily, one half versus another. So that's what I want to hopefully appeal to the county on, to try to prioritize some of these segments like cost, like you're referring to.
What's happening with Cordosa, where you have, two new subdivisions across from each other? So are those developers sharing an improvement of that roadway between those two?
Correct. Yeah, they're essentially conditioned to improve their half of the roadway.
So essentially, with one on each side, we're going to get at least that stretch of road between, like, say, at least that short stretch from like the railroad tracks going west should be being improved with the development of those two areas.
Correct. The railroad does have, I think it's 200 feet of right of way there. So where the tracks are, and to the west, I believe there's probably roughly 100, maybe 125 or so feet to the west of the existing tracks is railroad. So the Cardoso 1 and 2 improvements will basically come up to the railroad right-of-way line. So they will stop short of the railroad. And that's, you may recall, we were recently in April awarded some money to start the design process for the improvements at the Cost Railroad crossing, which will essentially be that railroad frontage on the west side, and then extend over to Joy Drive on the east side. But again, that's for the design money, and then we'll be poised to go after construction money for that piece. So,
well, I can ask additional questions later on. I'm sorry I didn't ask these in advance. It just kind of came up right now.
That's fine.
When we were discussing that. So thank you. Does any other council members have any additional questions for Mr. Selling, Mr. Clarkson? No? Okay. Do we have any public comment on this item, Tina?
No written comment.
Okay. Rose, do we have any hands raised online?
We do. We have Miss Phyllis Johnson again.
Okay. Go ahead, Miss Johnson.
Miss Johnson, go ahead and unmute your mic. Thank you.
Yes. It might be out of line, but I travel it 6 days a week, so I am concerned. I go from, let me get this right. I go from Christensen and I go to Twin Cities. Now, here's where my question is. Twin Cities Road between Christensen and Bruceville is a horror. Can we do anything for correction in that particular area? Thank you.
I believe, Ms. Johnson, that is county. Mr. Selling, you want to comment real quick on that?
Yeah, I would just confirm the mayor's statement. That is the county's jurisdiction. So I think what we can certainly do is make known to the county, that we've received concern about the condition of that roadway, and see if we can get some kind of sense of when they might identify it for improvement.
Thank you very much, because it got lumps and bumps that are unbelievable. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And Ms. Johnson, you also could also reach out to our county supervisor, Mr. Natoli, who represents
Correct,
us.
yes.
He's been very receptive. So you might want to shoot him an email and see if you can't get in his ear about that as well. It might be helpful.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the help.
Thank you, Ms. Okay. Any further hands raised online, Rose?
No other hands raised.
Okay. All right. Well, with no further comment from council and no public comment, I will look for a motion to approval of Senate Bill 1 annual project list for fiscal year 2021 to 22.
Moved.
Moved by council member, moved by Vice Mayor Sandu. And I will second that item. Can I have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor Sandu,
Aye.
Councilmember Papineau,
Aye.
Councilmember Vandenberg,
Aye.
Councilmember Lozano,
Aye.
Mayor Farmer.
Aye. Motion passes 5-0. We'll now move on to a next item, I, communication. Do we have any communication this evening?
None this evening.
All right. Move on to item J, city clerk's report. Subject 1, Commission on Aging member appointment.
Okay, this is for Vice Mayor Sandu's to appoint a community member to the Commission on Aging to fill a vacant position and remaining term ending December 2022. Vice Mayor Sandu appointed Marie Hall on May 21st, 2019, and Ms. Hall emailed her resignation on February 25th, 2021. We did advertise for a bit, and we eventually received 3 applications. These were forwarded to Vice Mayor Sandu for review, and I'll let him make the appointment.
Thank you, Ms. Huber. I received that 3 applicant, and I get a hard time to make a decision, but I finally happy to appoint Phyllis Johnson to this position, and she's a long-time Galt resident. She's in California State Retirees President, and she has a lot of other knowledge to this city. I'm happy to appoint her on that position. And I also like to have, she's Tina, she's on the call, or she's
Yes, she is on the call.
Yes, she is.
I'd like to have she want to speak something about herself.
Sure. Miss Johnson, would you like to say a word or two? You're on, go ahead and speak.
Okay, first of all, I'm very honored to serve on this great committee. Besides being a longtime Galtonian and taxpayer, I'm 74 years old, which makes me within the range of the people we will be covering here. I'm also a native New Yorker, so I've got a very varied background. I come from Union, 26 of my 28 years with the state, and therefore I'm a people person. I'll do my best. And the thing is, if I'm not doing my best, I'd rather hear it from the people right here than the public. That's all I'm asking for. And thank you very much for my opportunity to help.
Thank you, Ms. Johnson. We appreciate your willingness to serve. Thank you. Vice Mayor, do you have anything more on?
No, just congratulations, Ms. Johnson.
Do we have any
Thank
other
you.
comments on this particular item?
No written comment.
Okay. No, any hands raised online, Rose?
No other hands raised online.
Okay, so we don't need to vote on this, right? This is his appointment.
Correct.
All right. Then we will finish up with item K, actually almost finished. Comments by staff. Mr. Hines?
Good evening, everyone. I don't have any additional comments, so I will start by going around to the staff. We'll start with our Finance Director, Claire Tyson.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just wanted to let you know that the midterm budget documents have been posted and are in your box for review. If you have any questions, City Manager Hines and myself are available. We'll bring this back to you at your next council meeting for consideration. This is just the adjustments to the 2-year budget cycle. Other than that, I have nothing further to report.
And I also wanted to piggyback that I'll be briefing each of the council members directly on the budget package. The briefing format will be slightly different than what you see in the items that were posted. So I just wanted you all to be aware of that. Next up, Public Works Director Mike Selling.
Okay, I probably talked enough earlier, but just real quick, I just wanted to congratulate Ms. Hood on her new opportunity. I'm very sad to see her go. I'll go cry in my beer later, but I'm sure Mr. Splendorio will ably step in and try to fill her very large shoes here. So all the best, Kimberly.
All right, how about City Clerk Tina Hubert?
I will just repeat those statements. Kimberly, you will be truly missed.
Community Development Director Craig Hoffman.
Nothing for tonight. Kimberly, I cannot believe you're leaving me. Great to work with you.
Thank you.
All righty. Economic Development Manager Amy Mendez.
Good evening. No, I have nothing further to add either, but I am going to miss Kimberly terribly. She's been wonderful to work with. I have learned so much, and she's got the patience of a saint because there's a lot that we've dealt with that has been sort of treading new waters, I think, for both of us. So it's been great working with you. We're really going to miss you.
Thank you.
Very good. Parks and Rec Director Armando Solis.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I hope you don't hear that music in the background. I'm at my office and we're having a party here today. We have the food truck event going on in our parking lot, so there's some loud music going on. In honor of Kimberly, her great news, we're throwing a party over here at Parks and Recreation. Can you share your screen with me, Rose?
Yeah, I switched it. You're ready to go.
Okay. All right. So I just have a few things that I want to go over. There's been a lot of stuff going on at Parks and Rec, and no, that's not it. That's one of our food vendors. Sorry.
We can see the programs up on the
Oh,
screen.
can you? Okay.
Yeah, Armando, you're sharing the right screen.
All right.
Yeah.
So programs that just recently ended. Our T-ball ended May 22nd, and luckily there were no COVID outbreaks within our season. We did not have to postpone any games. Our school soar will end on June 4th. Again, lucky we did not have to do anything regarding COVID and outbreaks. June 14th, starting programs would be Camp Soar, swimming lessons, gator practices. We had 122 registered. Then the Aquatic Center is currently open for public swim on weekends and will open 7 days a week starting June 14th. We extended adult softball signups until June 14th for 2 reasons. One, the numbers are low. We currently have 5 men's teams registered and 3 co-ed. It'll give them an extra week to register. And if we start the week of the 21st, there will be no restrictions on them playing. where if we started on the 14th, we'd have to have them wear masks and not allow people in. So we just decided to start on the 21st with no restrictions. June 15th, we have lap swim that'll start in all 6 lanes. Continue with programs, special interest instructors for our indoor classes, karate, fitness in a chair, those type of things, tai chi. They will start the week of June 21st. We've contacted all of our instructors and notified them. We also contacted Meals on Wheels, and it is undetermined on when they will start their on-site lunches again. They're still providing delivered lunches for all our participants. And then the food event that we're talking about, that's actually a picture of my dinner tonight, since they were in my parking lot. I had some wings and some garlic fries. Tomorrow they will be out at Community Park. So I encourage everybody to go out and have dinner there. You can pick it up and take it home or have lunch in our park. This Friday, we will start our farmers market, and then we'll have live music the first Friday of each month, and that'll go through August 27th. It'll be on the 4th Street Promenade. Our parks with our Sacramento County now in Orange Tier, Veterans and Walker Natural Turf Fields are now open to the public and will be open every day going forward. And then our COVID updates, our testing, we have COVID testing continues every Thursday from 7 to 11. Starting this Thursday, we'll be testing in our classrooms here in the Parks and Rec offices so we can make the Shibola Center open for our instructors. Vaccinations, we have our Sacramento County will be providing a 2nd dose of Moderna, and J&J, I'm sorry, they did do the 2nd dose of Moderna, and J&J on the 24th. CSD provided 2nd doses to the seniors with our mobile vaccinations. CSD has provided vaccines at the Galt Market the last 4 weeks. And tomorrow they will provide the 2nd dose of Pfizer at the Galt Market during market operation hours. And that's all for our parks. Did anybody have any questions on any of those programs?
Yeah, Armando, the food trucks, what time do they run till? What time?
Till 8 o'clock tonight, 5 to 8 every Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesdays they'll be here, Wednesdays they'll be at community.
Okay. I had a couple of people that actually have really been excited about it, and people have been going, but they've been missing it by a little bit, saying, you know, being that it gets dark right at 8, they were, I don't know, asking. I know it's dark around 8:10, so, but they were saying like, why didn't they run like 5:30 to 8:30 or something? But you know, there's always going to be those people. But I think it's cool. I haven't yet to make it myself, but I was thinking actually maybe making it tonight if we get out of here. But yeah, so that's all I had.
I think Councilman Lozano had a question.
Yes.
Yeah, just 2 questions, or not questions. One, the food events, the food truck events. I personally haven't made it myself, but my family has gone 3 times, and they've all come back with very positive reviews. So good job on that, Armando. The question I had was just a clarification. The instructors that you're talking about for those classes, those are contract employees?
Correct.
They're not employees, but contractors that we contract with to bring in to provide those services.
Yes.
Okay, got it. And what was the return like on that from pre-COVID to now? Or you get 100% return, or?
We just notified them today that they would be allowed to come back starting the 21st. So once at the next council meeting, I'll be happy to report what kind of return we've gotten on that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And then I'd like to just tell Kimberly that I appreciate working with you and thank you. And I will now go and cry the rest of the meeting while we speak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Armando, if you need to talk, let me know. Okay, give me a call. Interim Police Chief Rick Small.
Thank you, sir. I have nothing for tonight, but I also want to thank Kimberly for her service to the city and wish her the best of luck.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Rose Rodacker.
Oh, Kimberly, we're gonna miss you. Thank you for all the years that you've put up with me and all my shenanigans, and for guiding us through and returning all of our emails and phone calls and texts and putting up with us and being patient. You are truly going to be missed, especially your laugh. I'm going to miss your laugh.
I'm not
So-
going to do it. Oh, no, no way.
So congratulations, and we'll see you hopefully before you leave.
Thank you.
All right. And so I'm going to give Kimberly the last word here, but before I turn it over to her, Kimberly, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for helping the new guy and guiding me through all of the sort of the ins and outs and some of the more complexities here at the city of Galt. We may be small, but we are complex. And I appreciate your advice and just being there and making sure that we stay on the straight and narrow and out of the path of any issues. So I appreciate you and thanks so much. I'm going to miss you, and we'll see you again at some point in the future. And Kimberly, you have the last word from the staff.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much to everybody. Again, really, it has been my pleasure, and it's been a real privilege to be able to serve the city, and everybody is wonderful, and I've just enjoyed it so much. So thank you. And obviously looking forward to visiting the city again, and as a visitor, and once baseball tournaments return, and I've spent some quality time at the sports complex myself with baseball tournaments. So looking forward to returning to that and catching my favorite tacos at the market and a whole bunch of other things. So thank you.
All righty. And Mr. Mayor, I believe we got everyone. And so back to you, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to comments by city council members, future agenda items. We'll start off with our vice mayor, Mr. Sandhu.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be quick. First of all, thank you for all the staff and Mr. Hines give us a report on the city council, very clear. And I also like to thank you for the public giving a public comment. Any public comment is very important for me from my constituent or from the public. The other thing I would like to thank you, Ms. Hood, to give a excellent service for many years from this city. And I also like to say to look when she's leaving as a good employee leaving from any employer, but she's leaving. And I also like to congratulate her on a new position. We all, sometimes we want to be moved due to family, due to other reason. But again, I congratulate Ms. Hood.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's it for Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Papanow.
Well, at risk of being redundant, thank you, Kimberly, for all of your help and responsiveness. It's only been 8 months, but invaluable guidance all the way up until this afternoon. So thank you for that, and good luck with the new county job. And then also kind of to echo what the mayor said earlier, compliments to the Galt Arno Cemetery District. Very, very fine return to in-person ceremony yesterday. It was very, very well done. And that's all I have.
Thank you. And sorry, I didn't mention that you were there yesterday. I had that written down, but I just didn't, so I apologize. Thank you for making it out there.
No worry.
Councilmember Vandenberg.
Thank you, Mayor. Phyllis, I'm looking forward to your spirited attitude on the Commission on Aging. To the staff, you know, this is a 389-page report, and although we do have look to pick at it, we appreciate, you know, that the vast majority of it is accurate and informative as possible. And to Kimberly, Galt being a family-oriented community, I think many, even though you'll obviously be very missed, I applaud your decision to be closer to your family and, you know, take care of your first responsibility, which is your family and your children. Good on you. That's
Thank
all
you.
I have there.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Lozano.
I too will be slightly redundant. As we talked the other day, Kimberly, appreciate your service to the city, and you do have the patience of a saint. As I mentioned before, you know, elected officials are tough folks to deal with sometimes, and I appreciate your patience with me and everyone, honestly. Back to our days where you would fill in over at the CSD when I was on that board, and so I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
but you've served us well, and I appreciate your guidance, which is although sometimes my desires for it to be based in emotion, it's always based in law and what's the best for the city and the citizens. So I appreciate your guidance that you've given us, although I didn't necessarily always like it. My job is to synthesize it and take it. So appreciate that, and good luck. And if you ever need anything from us here at the city, we will be here. And so reach back to us. And that is all I have to report or to comment on.
All right. Thank you, Councilman Lozano. I had a few items, but I'm actually going to forego one of them. But first off, yeah, congratulations to you, Kimberly.
Thank you.
I want to echo what Councilmember Vandenberg said is, you know, that I think you're definitely making the best decision as you based on our conversation that you and I had by phone. And I said, you know, that you can't always make decisions based on money. It's got to make good sense for the family first. And then, you know, but I think this is good for you and your career both. So I you know, wish you success in your new position. And welcome Mr. Splendario aboard. I know he's here watching, so look forward to meeting you and chatting in person and getting to know you as well. So thank you for coming aboard in place of Ms. Hood. And then secondly, just real quick, on a more somber note, I wanted to just say condolences on behalf of the city of Galt to the family of the San Bernardino Sheriff Dominic Vaca, who was killed on Memorial Day in line of duty down south. A very tragic story I just saw on social media today. So wanted to mention that. I wanted to say thank you again to the cemetery district for their hard work out there at the cemetery, and also to the Boy Scouts for putting out the flags everywhere. I get a flag in my yard on specific holidays. If you don't know about it, it's like $30-something a year. They come put a flag and they leave it there all day. They pick it up at the end of the day. Hardworking little troop, and I appreciate you know, they're doing their patriotic duty by doing that. And then you know, I wanted to I didn't want to save this for another time. Mr. Hines, we got an email today from the Vector. I think we all got that, and I want to know if we could have whoever does our social media can post some stuff about that. Post the website and the information how to do that. That email noted that there's been a couple mosquitoes tested positive for West Nile and Galt, which is not like, you know, means to panic, but it's a concern. And it's a concern because there's a lot of people. I've been hearing from some people I know, like neighbors with pools that are not drained, and I think could be a really ugly year for that. And so I would like that information to get shared as much as possible on social media, so people can be directed to those resources and find out about that stuff. If we could do that, that'd be great.
That item is actually on our executive team agenda for tomorrow, where we'll be coming up with a formal plan for public dissemination of this material.
Okay, thank you very much. And then last but not least, just want to remind everybody about the farmers market, first one this year over on the 4th Street Promenade. Parks and Rec been working really hard to put that together. I look forward to it. We're gonna have some live music. I think it's gonna be a great event. The weather's not gonna be too bad. So if you are not doing nothing Friday evening, come check it out. And that's pretty much it from me. So without further ado, everybody.
Can I interrupt real quick? We do have a hand raised. I believe it's up to the mayor, right, Kimberly, if we're allowing public comment?
Sure, that's fine. Go ahead.
Ms. Phyllis Johnson, go ahead.
Thank you. My question is regarding the food trucks. Can somebody tell me what kind of food those trucks have, please? So I will know if I can go there and help out by making a purchase.
Those food trucks will be changing every week. You can check our website. We'll have that information out there. Tonight we have hot wings, soft served ice cream, and some vegetarian and meat empanadas.
Whoa. Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll be out there. You just hit a nerve. Thank you, Armando.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Armando. Thanks, Ms. Johnson. All right, without further ado, everybody be safe out there and enjoy your week. And maybe hopefully we'll see you all live in a couple weeks. Fingers crossed. So meeting adjourned 6:24 p.m. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Right.